I'll go ahead and show you. So I brought 4 rabbits of a litter. It was a litter of 6. And 1 rabbit was white, 1 rabbit was black, and then I have 4 brokens. And so I brought all 4 brokens here. I have not looked at them at all. They're just here. And this is exactly what I would do when I'm sorting a litter. So I'm going to put the camera down and I'll show, oh, I know it would be helpful. Okay, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, your sound is very good.
Okay.
Very good.
So John's going to get me a marker so I can do it, but I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the rabbits. So, can you see them?
Yes.
Okay, so we have 4 of them. This is all one litter. So when I don't know if they're bucks or does or anything, I just grabbed a litter. So they are about 10 weeks old. I wean my rabbits at 8 weeks. And what I do to wean a litter is that I bring, I take the mama out of the cage. I leave the babies in the cage of which they were born. Or should I stop so you can translate?
Okay, I will translate. Perlu diterjemahin nggak? Oke, jadi Cathy akan membawa... Ya, Om Ipo?
Enggak, kalau aku sih oke sih, ngerti, paham.
Yang lainnya
mungkin perlu, Mbak.
Iya, jadi Cathy hari ini membawa 4 ekor kelinci yang sudah disapih, tapi dia belum melihat dari keempat-empatnya. Nanti kelinci tersebut akan kita lihat bareng-bareng. Oke, Cathy, you may continue.
Okay, right. So when I wean a litter, I take the mama out of the cage and the babies stay in the cage that they're used to. So they're used to the smells of that cage, how to get the water in that cage. So I don't want to stress them any more than they possibly can. So the mama comes out of the cage and into another cage to rest. And the litter stays all together.
Oke, untuk menyapi, Cathy memindahkan induknya ke kandang yang lain, sedangkan anak-anaknya tetap tinggal di kandang supaya mereka tetap familiar dengan air yang ada, dengan bau kandang yang ada, sehingga mereka tidak stres, dan ibunya dipindahkan ke kandang yang lain.
Okay, so these rabbits are they're probably about 9 weeks. I pulled the mama last week, and they've just been all sitting together. So I'm going to start out and I'll get them out one at a time and we'll talk about them. I don't even know what I have not sexed them or done anything. This is just...
Oke, kelinci yang dibawa ini umurnya adalah 9 minggu dan Cathy belum melihat sebelumnya dan dia juga belum menentukan kelaminnya sebelumnya. Jadi kita akan lihat bersama-sama nanti jenis kelaminnya apa. Oke.
Okay. Can you see me, Ari?
I can see you, but I cannot see the rabbit. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to tilt the camera.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so this is our first baby that I'm looking at. There's 4 broken otters and 1 broken black, and they're all in the same litter. So this is one baby that I'm looking at right now. So what I do when I go through the rabbits is I get just like this. I get them out, I look at the babies just like this. So I go all the way through the rabbits, just like I was judging a rabbit. So I examine everything. I checked the teeth, the nails. I want to make sure that everything's okay before I tattoo. So Ari, you can explain that.
Oke, jadi Cathy ngecek kelincinya seperti ketika judging kelinci untuk mengecek general conditionnya untuk semuanya. Jadi dicek di bagian mata, telinga, gigi, juga di bagian genitalnya.
Okay. If I don't like the rabbits, then I put them in another cage, grower cage, the fryer cage, where that I don't even bother to tattoo them. So far, this I just went through. This is a little buck.
Oke, jadi untuk kelinci yang dia tidak suka, dia akan pindahkan ke kandang yang lain. Untuk kandang fire itu maksudnya kelinci yang akan digunakan untuk dipotong. Dan dia tidak akan melihat lagi setelah itu. Yang ini sekarang adalah kelinci jantan.
Masih banyak gedung Albuston MTS Muhammadiyah Batang.
A lot of this is I also know because I've raised my rabbits for a long time, so I understand the line, what I'm seeing. So this rabbit will get deeper. I know that. Okay, Ari.
Oke, jadi dia akan melihat ke kelincinya dan yang ini yang dia bawa akan lebih dalam lagi untuk badannya. Oke.
So first of all, I check to make sure it's not too long in the shoulders. So this guy looks pretty good.
Jadi pertama kali dipastikan bahwa di bagian bahunya tidak terlalu panjang. Untuk yang kelinci di meja ini bahunya sudah cukup.
I'm going to turn him so you can see his hind end. Let's see how we're going to do this.
Yeah, I can see that.
Too close. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking for the fill in that hind end.
Oke, untuk yang tampak belakang akan dilihat profil bagian belakangnya.
So far I like what I'm seeing in terms of this. I do go over the fur, but fur won't come for another 2 months. So I can tell what's happening with the fur, but it's still very baby.
Jadi untuk saat ini memang fur itu tetap dilihat tapi bukan sebagai prioritas karena fur akan muncul kualitasnya di 2 bulan kemudian. Jadi dia lebih menekankan pada bentuk badan atau struktural.
I don't worry, well, especially now with the new standard, I don't worry about the marking so much in terms of the 50, the 1050. I used to have to do that, but now we don't have to.
Untuk standar yang baru atau SOP yang baru, dia tidak lagi khawatir tentang 10-50%. Jadi dia bisa lebih leluasa untuk memilih kelinci manapun.
So this is a rabbit I would go ahead and tattoo. Actually, playing with it, I can feel the coat coming. The coat starts at the base of the tail and grows up over the rabbit. So I can already feel it right down here.
Jadi bulu itu pertama kali akan muncul di bagian belakang, bagian bawah belakang, dan kemudian naik ke atas. Jadi dia memeriksanya saat ini di bagian belakang dan dia bisa merasakan bahwa kualitas bulunya sudah mulai bagus.
I'm going to put a mark in his ear so I know that we've already looked at him and we'll come back to him later.
Cathy memberikan tanda kepada kelincinya supaya nanti nggak ketukar dengan kelinci yang lain.
They haven't been handled, so they're a little bit wild. Okay, so this is the second one I'm looking at in the litter, and I already see an issue I don't like about this rabbit. So
ini kelinci kedua dan mari kita lihat apa yang dia tidak suka dari kelinci ini.
This is a rabbit I would let grow. I wouldn't cull it right now, but I would watch it because I'm not liking what I'm seeing in the shoulder. Do you see how much longer he is in the shoulder?
Yes. Jadi ini tidak akan dikaling atau tidak akan disingkirkan untuk sementara, tetapi dia akan tetap mengawasinya ketika mereka berkembang, karena di bagian bahunya agak sedikit panjang. Bisa dilihat bahwa bagian bahunya panjang sekitar 2 jari.
So I do the same thing. I go through. If it's got missing a toe or anything like that, then it doesn't stay.
Juga diperiksa pada bagian kukunya, kalau ada kuku yang hilang, maka ini tidak akan dipertahankan.
Yeah, there's no use feeding them if they can't be show quality.
Jadi untuk yang bukan show quality akan ditaling atau akan dipisahkan dengan yang lain.
So anyway, this is a doe. I'm not real thrilled with her shoulders right now. Let's see what her hind, let me look so I know what I'm talking about. She's I think, just looking at her, you have to ignore the markings here. I think she's a little more narrow than that buck. I'd have to see hands to hands, but I think she's a little more narrow than the last rabbit.
Jadi yang ini kalau dilihat dari bagian belakangnya dia lebih sempit di bagian belakang dibandingkan dengan jantan yang sebelumnya. Dia tidak terlalu khawatir dengan marking yang ada, tetapi lebih kepada bagian belakang yang lebih sempit.
So remember that the coat is the last thing to come, so I'm not real worried about it. I can see her coat coming. I would put her in, I would go ahead and tattoo her, but she'd stay in a cage. And grow. And I'll tell you about my growing cages in just a minute. Let me get a mark in her ear.
Jadi untuk sementara tetap akan disimpan di growing cages atau di kandang pembesaran, tapi sambil diawasi juga nanti perkembangannya bagaimana ke depannya.
Okay, this is another one.
Kelinci yang ketiga.
Oops, turn it so you can see the rabbit. Okay, so this one is similar to the last one, just a little bit longer. Whoops, a little bit longer in the shoulder right now than that first one.
Jadi yang ini juga sedikit lebih panjang di bagian bahunya daripada yang sebelumnya.
I'll tell you something else I can feel about this one in just a minute. So I do the same thing.
Cathy melakukan hal yang sama, mengecek semua kondisinya secara umum.
This is another little buck.
Ini jantan juga.
Yeah, and just like the last one that we looked at, the same thing in the hind end. You'll see just a little bit too narrow in that hip. For what it could fill in, but right now that's what I'm seeing. Hey, don't eat that.
Jadi untuk sekarang ini di bagian atas hipnya itu agak sedikit sempit. Dia akan tetap memperhatikannya sampai kelinci ini berkembang.
Even though this is a buck, and even though this is a baby, I can already feel that remember last time we talked about the protrusion of guard hairs, the guard hair longer than the undercoat?
Yes.
That's what this rabbit has. He has a longer guard hair than an undercoat.
Oke, jadi untuk yang ini bisa dirasakan hari ini bahwa kelinci tersebut dia mempunyai guard hair yang lebih panjang daripada undercoat. Jadi sudah terasa bagian guard hair-nya lebih dominan daripada undercoat.
Yes, so I can already feel that coming, but I'm just used to handling them also. So we are going to put a mark in this one's ear. Actually, they're coming out pretty close the way I would like them in a litter. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to see one more in the litter. Come here, baby.
Kita akan melihat satu lagi kelinci yang dalam satu kelahiran yang sama.
Same litter, but look at the difference in the pattern.
Jadi dia ada dalam satu kelahiran yang sama, tapi dengan pola yang berbeda.
I have to shut the cage here for a minute. They're climbing all over. They're grabbing the computer cord. I like the depth in this rabbit a lot. What I'm seeing.
Ya, Cathy suka sekali dengan kedalaman badan dari kelinci ini.
Yeah, it's quick. What I would call quicker in the shoulder. It comes up faster. Stop. Comes up faster in that shoulder.
Cathy akan menyebutnya sebagai quicker on the shoulder, artinya dia cepat mula untuk naiknya dari arah bahunya.
So same thing. I'm going to check everything about it.
Hal yang sama dilakukan untuk ngecek untuk bagian generalnya.
Okay, so we have another doe.
Yang ini betina.
She's not liking this. So she's nice down there through the bottom.
Dia bagus di bagian belakangnya hingga ke bagian bawah.
The thing I do not like about this rabbit is look at her face.
Tapi yang tidak dia suka dari kelinci ini adalah bagian wajahnya.
So this is allowable. She can be shown with that mark because it's in the whisker bed.
Jadi dia masih tetap boleh untuk dikonteskan karena ada markingnya di bagian pipi.
But I don't think it's very pretty.
Tapi dia pikir ini tidak cantik.
So you look at that. So when you have a litter like this, so the way it just happens. I like this rabbit. The first rabbit I like first. This rabbit I like second. The one we showed second I like third. And the one that was third I like fourth in the litter of what I see right now.
Jadi yang ini dia yang paling suka. I'm sorry, I think I missed the second one. Dan yang bagian kedua itu adalah urutan ketiga, and I missed the fourth one. I'm sorry.
Okay, and the reasons are the first one is he's very good in his type. He had the markings. He has the fur. This one, I like her type. I don't think she's going to be as dense in her coat. That's just my feeling right now. And I don't like that.
Oke, untuk yang ini dia suka untuk type-nya, untuk body type-nya, tapi dia tidak suka dengan kerapatan bulunya dan juga dia tidak suka dengan wajahnya.
I think this is the one. Yeah, this is the one we had out second. So I like it third in the litter.
Yang ini dia untuk kedua, urutan kedua yang dia suka.
And I don't like that shoulder.
Alasannya adalah karena bagian bahu yang panjang kena. Jadi dia kurang suka di bagian bahunya.
And the rabbit we had third.
Kelinci yang ketiga.
This one also has a little too much shoulder, and I don't like the texture of the coat. So this is my fourth rabbit.
Oke, jadi yang ini dia tidak suka karena bagian bahunya agak panjang juga di bagian teksturnya.
But at this time, I would keep all of these rabbits. I would tattoo them. There's none in here that I would dump right away.
Jadi semuanya akan dia tato, tapi yang tidak ada di sini dia tidak akan pakai. Jadi dalam 1 liter ini tadi sebelumnya ada 6 kelinci, tapi hanya 4 yang dia pilih.
Sometimes it's easier if you see, if mama's gotten excited, taken off a piece of the ear, or I've had the mamas take off a toe or something like that. Or if I have a black rabbit that has a white spot, they're just gone.
Jadi dalam satu kelahiran kadang karena induknya terlalu bersemangat, jadi kadang telinganya hilang atau jarinya hilang, atau pada kelinci yang berwarna hitam dia ada white spot, semuanya tidak akan dipakai oleh Cathy.
So I would tattoo these rabbits, and then what happens? So first, mama comes out of the cage, and they just stay in their cage for another 2 weeks. Then I go through the rabbits, and the ones I want to keep get tattooed, and they go into what I call growing cages.
Oke, jadi pada saat untuk memilih, jadi usia 2 minggu pertama kita akan memilih, kalau yang tidak dipilih akan dipindahkan, dan kalau yang dipilih dia akan tato. Setelah itu yang dipilih akan dipindahkan ke kandang pembesaran.
So my growing cages what is it? Oh gosh, now we're gonna have to translate. My growing cages are 12 inches wide, 24 inches deep. So we're gonna have to translate that into
It's okay. Jadi
Okay.
untuk growing cages-nya Cathy itu ukurannya 12 inci lebarnya dan 24 inci kedalamannya.
So they stay in there probably maybe 3 to 4 weeks.
Jadi kelinci-kelinci tersebut akan tinggal di sana sekitar 3 sampai 4 minggu.
And I don't, when they're in the growing cages, I don't play with them. They just stay in there and they eat and they grow.
Jadi selama di kandang pembesaran, Cathy tidak akan pegang, jadi mereka hanya makan, minum, dan berkembang.
After they've been in the growing cages for 3 to 4 weeks, then I get them out again. And the bucks go on one side of my barn is too long. My barn is 52 feet long. So there's a row of cages and then a walkway, then a row of cages and another row of cages, side back, a walkway, and then another row of cages. So 4 rows of cages.
Jadi setelah itu Cathy akan setelah 3 atau 4 minggu kemudian Cathy akan melihat lagi dan akan dipilih, sedangkan kelinci-kelinci jantan akan dipindahkan ke kandang yang sebelah. Di kandang Cathy secara keseluruhan panjangnya ada 72 feet dan di kandang tersebut ada 4 baris kandang. Jadi yang pertama 1 baris, kemudian jalan, 1 tapak jalan, kemudian 2 kandang bersebelahan, tapak jalan dan kandang lagi.
The first row in my barn, the first one is all the mamas and babies. The second row is partially mamas and babies and then grower cages.
Jadi untuk yang baris pertama semuanya berisi indukan dan anakan, baris kedua berisi sebagian indukan dan anakan dan kandang pembesaran.
The next row over, the row and the reason, and I'll tell you the reason, my reasoning for it. But the second walkway row, the whole row is all show animals all the way down.
Jadi,
go ahead.
Jadi setelah itu semuanya adalah kandang untuk kelinci-kelinci yang akan dikonteskan atau show animal.
The furthest row over to next to them over the walkway is all the bucks that I keep, the breeding bucks. Then behind them are all show bucks.
Kemudian setelah itu baris selanjutnya adalah semua jantan dan di sebelahnya atau di belakangnya adalah jantan-jantan show.
The reason I keep them that way is I keep the bucks together because it's easier when I'm doing breeding. I can put does in and watch, who's doing what or not breeding. So I can tell because they're all right together.
Jadi alasannya menempatkan semua jantan bersama dalam satu barisan adalah supaya mempermudah Cathy untuk melihat dan untuk breeding, mana jantan yang mau breeding dan mana yang tidak.
And I keep the show rabbits down this center because our cooling system is at one end of the barn and the suction fan is at the other end of the barn. So the center part of the rabbitry is the coolest.
Jadi Cathy menempatkan untuk show animalnya di tengah, alasannya karena pendinginnya terletak di tengah. Jadi di ujung itu terletak adalah pendingin dan di ujung lainnya itu kipas untuk membuang udara. Jadi bagian tengah adalah bagian terdingin dari kandang Cathy.
I know the question is going to come up. How many cages? I have 120 cages. That includes the growing cages. It includes the doe cages that are bigger for the litters. It includes the growing cages, the show cages, the buck cages. I have 120 cages total.
Mungkin akan ada pertanyaan berapa banyak kandang yang Cathy punya. Cathy ada 120 kandang, dan itu semuanya sudah meliputi kandang untuk betina dan anakan, kandang pembesaran, dan juga kandang untuk kelinci-kelinci show.
So behind now, I'm at in the center part, I have a grooming table with cages to sort, just like what we just did. I could have gone through, and they're little bitty show cages that they're in. There's 8 of them across. So I do that so I can work at the table and have the rabbits right there.
Jadi di bagian tengah itu juga Cathy meletakkan satu meja untuk memilih kelincinya, dan di depan meja tersebut ada show kandang whole show yang sebanyak 8 kandang. Jadi disitulah Cathy memilih di mana kelincinya yang akan dipakai.
They're just like your show cages, except they're small, and they're all together, not like you all do it all together in one table.
Jadi kandang show-nya yang dipakai Cathy itu lebih kecil daripada yang biasa kita pakai, dan jadi itu cukup untuk diletakkan di atas meja. I think that's the medium size of the KWK's show.
Yeah, they're smaller than that.
Okay.
I got him used. A friend of mine had him made, and then he got ill, and I ended up buying all of his cages, and I got that cage with him too. And it doesn't wear out because it's just a little one that I use. So it's just little, like they would use in America, Ari, like if you saw the Netherland dwarf cages.
Yeah, the dwarf one, yeah.
Just for the little ones.
Oke, jadi Cathy menggunakan kandang show-nya yang ukuran kecil, yang biasa dipakai untuk dwarf.
And the management for the does. So when their mama comes out of when I pull her out of the cage, I don't breed her. I'm careful. When my does when I've kept them for a reason. So they're in there, and they're in there to stay until they die or they just can't breed anymore. So I keep them, and I do careful management so the mother does not get bred back right away.
Jadi untuk betina, Cathy memeliharanya karena ada banyak alasan, dan dia akan membiarkan kelinci tersebut ada di kandangnya sampai meninggal. Jadi untuk betina itu, ketika setelah sapih, Cathy tidak akan langsung mengawinkannya.
So when does are not, we call them clothespins. They're wooden clothespins that when you were in America, like they put on the front of the cages to mark classes. Do you remember those, Ari? Well, I have wooden ones, and I put those on the feeders, and I know those does aren't bred, so they're just in holding. They just sit there and wait till they're in good condition again.
Oke, untuk mengawinkan kelincinya kembali, Cathy menunggu betina-betina tersebut kondisinya untuk lebih baik, dan di depan kandang mereka diletakkan tanda atau marker, bisa juga dengan penjepit baju, dan disitulah Cathy bisa tahu bahwa kelinci tersebut tidak dikawinkan atau belum dikawinkan. I think there's a question. Someone is raising hand.
I'm sorry, ask me again, Ari.
No. Is it okay if there's a question? I think there's someone.
Oh, sure, anytime. Yes, of course.
Kalau ada yang mau nanya, silakan aja, boleh tanya langsung. Tadi yang raising hand siapa ya? Okay, you can continue. I think that it's already lowered the hand.
Okay, and we'll do tell everybody we'll do questions and answers afterwards and meet there. So I know the question is going to come up, when do I rebreed the does? That depends on the doe. It depends on how many she's had in a litter and what her condition is when I pull her off of a litter.
Jadi mungkin ada pertanyaan, kapan sih betina itu akan dikawinkan kembali? Jawabannya Cathy adalah dilihat dulu kondisi kelinci tersebut, ke betina tersebut. Kalau kondisinya bagus, maka dia akan dikawinkan kembali, dan juga dipertimbangkan berapa banyak anakan yang dia punya. Jadi tidak akan dikawinkan segera setelah sapih.
The litter I showed you, their mother had 6 of them. And so when I pulled her, but I have another doe that I pulled the same day and she only had 2. So she's in better shape than their mama.
Oke, dia ada yang betina yang punya anak, I think it's like what, 5 liters?
What size feeders? I use J feeders into the cages, and the growing cages and the show cages. What would those be? 4 inches by 4 inches, John? I know how deep, but okay. The feeders I use for all the show animals and the growers are 6 inches by 6 inches. I think that's what they are. They're square, and they're a J feeder. The mamas and the babies, I have big ones.
Oke, untuk
Go ahead.
Oke, untuk tempat pakannya Cathy menggunakan ukuran 6 kali 6 inci untuk show animal, dan untuk indukan dia menggunakan yang lebih besar.
Yeah, so I have bigger ones. I feed once a day, except for mamas and babies.
Cathy memberi makan 1 kali sehari, kecuali untuk indukan dan anakan.
Yeah, the mamas and the babies, I'll go out and I'll, give them feed in the morning if they need it. But otherwise, everybody gets fed every evening.
Jadi untuk indukan akan diberikan pada waktu pagi hari, dan untuk semua kelinci yang lain diberikan pada waktu malam hari.
I think that would matter for you all because of the humidity too. So you may have to do it differently. So I don't know if the food gets too damp from the humidity. We're dry.
Jadi untuk di tempat kita mungkin agak sedikit berbeda karena kelembapan kita jauh lebih tinggi daripada di tempat Cathy, dan di tempat Cathy itu lebih kering.
When I think the doe is in good enough shape, she gets bred again.
Jadi kalau Cathy pikir kalau betina itu cukup bagus kondisinya, dia akan dikawinkan kembali.
And there is no set reason or rhyme for that. When I think they're ready, I breed them again. If not, if I think that they're off a bit, then I leave them longer. I'm not ever in any big hurry to rebreed.
Jadi Cathy tidak terburu-buru untuk mengawinkan kembali kelincinya. Dia melihat kembali kondisi kelinci tersebut. Kalau memang kondisinya bagus, dia akan dikawinkan kembali. Tapi kalau kondisinya masih kurang bagus, akan dibiarkan sementara waktu hingga kondisinya kembali membaik.
And I don't just put them in with the buck. I always check to make sure they're in heat before I put them in with a buck. So they have to be deep purple and ready to go.
Jadi Cathy tidak asal memasukkan betina ke kandang jantan, dia ngecek dulu bagian genitalnya atau bagian vulvanya. Kalau dia sudah berwarna merah gelap atau keunguan, maka akan dikawinkan. Kalau tidak, maka akan ditahan dulu.
Right. There's no use, we're wasting all that energy or having a doe turn on a buck if they're not going to breed. It's just not worth it.
Jadi ini sangat tidak berharga untuk membuang energi kalau kelinci tersebut tidak mau dikawinkan.
I always breed several does. I never breed one at a time. So I breed several does. 3, 4, all get bred on the same day.
Jadi pada hari yang sama Cathy akan mengawinkan 3 sampai 4 betina. Jadi Cathy tidak hanya akan mengawinkan 1 kelinci, tetapi beberapa betina dalam 1 hari.
And the reason I do that is if for some reason something goes wrong, I can foster babies from one litter to another litter.
Jadi alasannya dilakukan tersebut apabila terjadi sesuatu, maka Cathy bisa memindahkan anakannya atau dibabukan gitu ya, kelincinya ke indukan yang lain.
And when I foster, I have to hope that the litters are different colors so I can tell. But if they aren't, I have a tattoo pin that's 1 prong, and I make 1 poke in their ear and ink it so they have a dot in their ear, and I know that's who got fostered into that litter.
Jadi Cathy berharap bila menitipkan anak kelinci ke indukan yang lain, warnanya akan berbeda. Tapi jika warnanya sama, Cathy akan memberikan tanda dengan alat tato yang berupa titik di kelinci yang dititipkan.
Just so you know, they have something to mark them. When I breed rabbits, it's always in my mind a puzzle. So I'm always thinking about what I want to accomplish with the breeding.
Jadi ketika mengawinkan kelinci, Cathy selalu memikirkan puzzle. Jadi yang mana yang harus dia hasilkan atau tuju ketika mengawinkan kelinci tersebut.
I never ever breed just for color. Never.
Jadi Cathy tidak pernah mengawinkan kelinci hanya untuk mendapatkan warna.
Color's only 10 points. So it's more important to breed for body and fur.
Warna itu hanya 10 poin dan lebih penting untuk breeding body type untuk badan dan juga untuk fur.
So I will have a doe and I will think, okay, I need more depth and so she should get bred to, you know, west. I think she needs more fur, and so she gets bred to cyan. I have a doe that doesn't want to breed very much, so I need to give her to a buck who's going to say, you're going to breed, and then they go to Carlo. He breeds everything.
Oh. Is it the name of the buck is Carlo?
Yes, the name of the buck is Carlo.
Oh, okay.
So I gave name of the buck. So if I want depth, they get bred to west. If I want fur, they get bred to, and he just has initials, CN in his ear. If they're just being a troublesome doe and don't want to breed, they have to go see Carlo because he will make them breed.
Oke, jadi di kandang kelincinya di kandangnya Cathy, kalau ada betina yang punya kedalaman badan yang bagus, maka dia akan mengawinkan dengan kelinci yang akan dituju sesuai dengan tujuan dari Cathy. Dan di kandang Cathy ada beberapa jantan dengan inisial CN, dia akan pakai kalau kita akan mencari kualitas fur. Dan West, nama kelinci jantannya kalau kita mau cari kualitas body, dan satu yang namanya Carlo itu jantan yang akan kawinin semua betina. Jadi kalau ada betina yang nggak mau kawin, semuanya lari ke Carlo.
I have some other bucks, but that was just an example of you know, different reasons that I use different bucks.
Jadi Cathy itu ada jantan yang lain, tapi yang 3 ini tadi dipakai hanya untuk sebagai contoh saja kalau Cathy menggunakan beberapa jantan sesuai dengan tujuannya.
Okay, what haven't I covered, Ari, that they would want to know?
Yeah, I think that's maybe we can open for question if you're ready for it. Adakah pertanyaan? Boleh ditanyakan. Kalau ada yang mau bertanya, boleh langsung tanya. Open the mic dan perkenalkan diri.
Saya mau tanya, Bu Ari.
Monggo silahkan, boleh langsung.
Oh ya, saya Eko Ahmad Pranoto dari Malang, Jawa Timur. Tadi sudah sangat lengkap sekali yang dijelaskan tentang kandangnya Budi Cathy. Ini saya mau tanya, karena pengalaman saya kelinci Rex itu rawan dengan sorghum. Nah, saya kalau boleh tahu alas kandang yang digunakan di kandangnya di sana itu menggunakan alas terbuat dari apa yang paling bagus? Itu saja. Terima kasih.
Okay, terima kasih Pak Eko Ahmad Pranoto. Okay, there's a question about the base of the cage because of there's some issues of sorghum in his barn.
Okay.
So that his question is about what the best material can we use or he used for the floor for the cage so that he can avoid the sorghum.
I know exactly what he's talking about. So we use regular KW cage wires on the sides and the back. Actually, the sides have metal. Between the cages, they have a metal divider so the rabbits can't get to each other. but on the bottom of the cage, we use 14 gauge wire. It's heavier, so you don't get the bounce. They're bouncing too much. And then all the rabbits have a board in their, it's not solid, but a board that they can stand on to get off the wire.
Okay.
The
Jadi
normal, yeah, Ari, the normal cages are 12 gauge. The normal wires that come from KW are 16 gauge. Okay, are 16 gauge, and when you go smaller numbers, it gets heavier. So there's 16 gauge on the side, on the tops, but we put 14 gauge on the bottom.
and the board.
And a board. They all get a board.
Oke. Jadi untuk bagian alas kandangnya, kalau kandang reguler di sana, di bagian samping dan atasnya dia menggunakan kawat ukuran 16G. Jadi untuk alasnya digunakan kawat yang lebih tebal, ukurannya 14G, atau tadi nyebutnya 14 gauge. Nah, di situ, di bagian alasnya juga dikasih kayak sedikit papan. Yang bukan semuanya solid, tapi sedikit papan, sehingga mereka bisa duduk dengan nyaman. Gitu Pak Eko, apa masih ada pertanyaan lagi? Jadi kalau mau tahu ukuran si kawat ini, datang aja ke tukang kawat kali ya. Jadi bisa bilang yang ukurannya 14G atau 16G gitu. Biasanya sih seperti itu.
Ya.
Okay. Also, if you get too big of a cage, you get more bounce in it. Our cages are 18 by 24 or 18 by 30 are the show rabbit cages.
Oke, jadi untuk alasnya kalau bisa jangan melengkung atau jangan terlalu lunak gitu. Jadi posisi kelincinya kalau bisa tetap firm, tetap alas kandangnya itu tetap rata gitu. Jadi nggak membal-membal seperti itu, karena ukuran kandang Cathy itu sekitar 18 sampai 24 inch kali 24 inch, dan untuk yang show animal dia 18 kali 30 inch.
The boards, we've done everything on the boards. I like just a piece of wood, like plywood board, not not like wall board, not press board. I like a piece of wood.
Jadi untuk kandangnya alasnya yang tadi soal alasnya yang boardnya itu kalau bisa pakai triplek aja sih atau plywood. Jadi bukan yang terbuat dari marble atau apa sih nyebutnya? Kalau kita bilangnya keramik ya, atau bahan lain. Jadi tetap cuman pakai semacam triplek gitu aja.
Yeah, I've tried all kinds of different things on the ground. The wall board, they eat it, they make a mess, and I don't like. It makes me uncomfortable. How much are they ingesting of that? The plaster, and the press board, they just tear it to pieces. The wood lasts long. They still eat it, but it lasts longer.
Oke, jadi untuk alasnya kalau bisa pakai yang kayu. Triplek itu aja. Soalnya kalau yang kayak press board atau wall board itu kalau di sini bilangnya apa ya? Bilangnya kayak yang untuk dinding yang apa sih bilangnya? Kok aku lupa sih. Asbes ya, kayak asbes gitu. Biasanya dimakanin. Jadi Cathy kurang suka seperti itu. Jadi kalau bisa sih alas kandangnya dari kayu atau plywood.
The best thing is the heavier duty wire on the bottom. We special order it, and then John basically puts it on the cages.
Jadi kalau bisa alasnya menggunakan kawat yang lebih besar dan lebih stabil. Masih ada pertanyaan nggak Pak Eko Ahmad Pranoto? Pak Eko?
Oh iya, ya Bu Ari. Ada tambahan sedikit. Tadi menyebutkan kalau kandangnya dikelompokkan berdasarkan betina, jantan. Nah, apa yang terjadi jika kita itu jantan dan betina ini yang masih muda ini didekatkan? Soalnya saya pernah pengalaman itu, di betina seakan-akan itu hamil, gitu, tapi tidak hamil.
Oh, okay. So that's another question about the reason you put the rabbits based on the sex. I mean, like you you arrange the rabbits like for the mother, babies, and other. Is there any reason? Because in his barn that he put the winning cock and doe side by side, and then the does act as if that she's pregnant, but they never met before.
Okay, say that part again. I lost it when the motorcycle went by.
Oh yeah, I can hear that. Like like he put the wind buck and does side by side, not the same, not on the same cage, but side by
Yeah.
side. They can see each other. So then the does act like she was bred. Is it happened, or is it possible to happen?
Well, they can't breathe through the wire, but it's probably, sometimes the smell is too close. It probably drives the buck crazier than the doe because he can smell her and can't get to her. It might, I don't know, on the doe. I just do it that way for management. It's easier for me. But I think does next to bucks probably drive the bucks crazy.
Okay. Jadi alasannya supaya lebih gampang aja di manage untuk di itu aja Pak Eko. Terus biasanya kalau jantan sih yang lebih aktif ya daripada betina, dan ada kemungkinan, nggak tahu juga, tapi ada kemungkinan bisa kawin juga lewat kawan.
I don't think this will translate, but one time I was at a rabbit show, but they had chickens, and there was a rooster and then a hen, and that rooster really wanted in with that hen bad. He kept going back and forth, and she sat in the middle of the cage and goes, because the buck couldn't get in the cage. I mean, the rooster couldn't get in the cage.
Kata dia mungkin ini nggak diterjemahin, tapi dalam satu kontes binatang. Jadi di sana kalau kontes binatang nggak cuma kelinci, ada beberapa binatang yang lain, dan ini di kontes ayam. Kebetulan si ayam jantan sama ayam betina itu bersebelahan, dan ayam jantan selalu ingin lari ke kandang betina, dan betinanya di tengah-tengah gitu sambil berbunyi kayak Cathy tadi. Oke, ada pertanyaan lain kah? Is there any more questions?
I want to go back to the foot thing again, though. I'm going to grab a rabbit here again.
Okay.
One thing to really watch for is how much foot pads do you have? So how thick is that? So
Okay.
do that. If you have too thin of foot pads, don't keep them.
Oke, jadi satu hal lagi yang Cathy ingatkan adalah ketika kita melihat alas kaki kelinci, kalau bisa dipilih yang alas kakinya punya fur yang lebih tebal. Kalau yang furnya tipis, kalau bisa nggak usah dipakai, karena di situ yang biasanya pemicu untuk sorghum.
Right. When you start seeing that, usually it means that usually it ties together with too thin of coats. Not always, but sometimes, but most of the time it does.
Jadi biasanya kalau sorghum itu berhubungan dengan alas kaki fur yang terlalu tipis.
Ask him if it's a castor.
Om Eko, itu tadi warnanya kastor bukan? Om Eko Ahmad.
Warna kelinci yang di tempat saya rata-rata broken dan black otter.
Oh, it's a broken and black otter.
Oh, okay. That's unusual. I see it more often in castors.
Okay.
Not always. Yeah, not always, but it does for some reason occur in castors.
Nggak selalu, tapi biasanya terjadi di kelinci yang berwarna kastor.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any more questions, please?
Susie had one.
Ada yang mau nanya kah? Iya, Bu Susi, silakan dibuka itunya. Mic ya.
Halo.
Iya, kedengeran. Silakan.
Miss Cathy, I want to answer. My rabbit is a girl. She
Betul.
often want to sex with her daughter, even though the child is a girl. What is that happening?
So she has a dough. So
Uh-huh.
and this dough has a dough, a liter of dough. Then she wants to breed her litter, even though they are both at the same sex, like both
Yeah.
doughs.
Uh-huh.
So she asked what happened with that.
So she doesn't have any bucks?
Nggak punya jantan ya, Mbak?
I have.
She has a bug, but the mother tend to wants to breed the daughter.
Oh, okay. Just rebreed the mama again.
Jadi yang betinanya ibunya dikawinin lagi, Mbak, karena itu udah nafsuan.
Oh.
Or take the baby out.
Kalau nggak betinanya dipisahin.
Oh.
Maksudnya anakannya dipisahin, udah dipisahin di tempat lain.
Yeah, if they stay together too long, they start chewing each other's fur.
Even the mother and the daughter.
Yes, they will.
Jadi kalau terlalu lama dibiarin barengan juga di dalam satu kandang yang sama, indukannya akan makanin bulu anaknya juga, Mbak. Jadi kalau bisa, kalau udah waktunya dipisah saja.
Yeah, especially if she wants another litter, she just needs to breed the mama, and she needs the baby, the first daughter, not in the cage when she has those babies.
Jadi nanti kalau sudah dikawinin lagi dan induknya melahirkan, kalau bisa anaknya yang pertama dipisahkan, karena memang tidak seharusnya anaknya yang sebelumnya ada di kandang yang sama induknya. Ada pertanyaan lain kah? Atau Mbak Susi masih ada pertanyaan?
No.
Oke, terima kasih Mbak Susi. Oke, I think ada apa Om Jeffrey? Mau tanya kah?
Iya Bu, saya Bu Jeffrey Bu dari Manado.
Silahkan Om Jeffrey.
Ibu, saya mau nanya perihal penyempitan bokong bagian bawah belakang itu Bu, undercut gitu Bu. Itu apakah penyebabnya dari alas kandang yang licin ketika kecil atau memang bawaan dari genetik dari induk ya Bu ya?
Alas kandang yang licin?
Ya, apakah penyebabnya, karena kali kan undercut itu Bu kakinya V atau penyempitan kaki gitu Bu. Penyempitan kaki itu bagian belakang bawah itu agak menyempit gitu, agak meruncing gitu bokong bagian belakang. Itu penyebabnya apakah karena alas Bu atau memang bawaan dari genetik induk Ibu?
Okay, Cathy, it's a question about the pinch or narrow hindquarters. Is it because of the base of the cage, or is it because of genetics?
It's always because of genetics, not because of the cage. So when you have a litter, I wish all of them came out to be show, but there are differences. Just like if you have children, they don't all turn out exactly the same. So there are differences between each of the rabbits, just like there are differences between each of our children.
Okay, jadi
yes, even though you have same mama, same daddy, there's differences.
Okay. Jadi Om Jeffrey, untuk itu lebih banyak ke genetik daripada hal lainnya. Jadi untuk satu indukan pun akan mempunyai anak yang tidak semuanya sama. Seperti Om Jeffrey juga, orang tua Om Jeffrey pasti punya anak yang berbeda-beda, nggak semuanya persis kayak Om Jeffrey kan?
Kalau gedenya sama Bu.
Oh pas, kalau gedenya sama. Oke, ada pertanyaan lain nggak Om Iqbal? Ada yang mau bertanya Om Iqbal? Yang open mic, Om Iqbal mau menanya kah? Soalnya Om Iqbal open mic nih. Atau Om Jeffrey masih ada pertanyaan? Langsung ditutup. Atau Om Jeffrey ada yang mau ditanya Om?
Berarti Bu, kalau tadi sistem kawin yang dipakai Mom Cathy tadi, bahwasanya tunggu selesai sapi, kemudian tunggu kondisinya kembali gitu ya, sempurna kembali gitu ya Bu ya. Itu berarti dalam 1 tahun bisa cuma 2-3 kali produksi ya Bu, untuk indukannya sendiri ya Bu.
Bentar aku tanyain ya. Okay, Kathy, if there's a question about you wait for the dose to back to its good condition. So how many times in a year that you could break your dose? Like 2 or 3 times a
3.
year?
I would say 3 would be the average.
Okay. Jadi
Yeah.
rata-rata sekitar 3 kali Om Jeffrey. Jadi 3 kali dalam 1 tahun Om Jeffrey.
Untuk penyapiannya sendiri Bu tetap di usia 2 bulan Ibu atau?
So when you win the babies, like in 2 months?
2 months, 8 weeks.
8 minggu atau 2 bulan Om Jeff?
Untuk sapinya Bu dipisah langsung atau bertahap Bu untuk waktunya Bu dalam proses penyapiannya supaya anakan atau indukan tidak stres, apakah langsung sapi atau pakai waktu Ibu?
So you win them right away, like separate the mother with the litter, or you have like some steps, like in a week, 2, 3.
Okay. So first they're all together. Mama has the babies. At 8 weeks, I take the mama away and all of them stay together. Boys and girls, bucks and does, all stay together for another 2 weeks. Then I take them out and separate. Sometimes I'll leave the boys, some boys in one cage and girls in another cage. Depends upon if they're starting to fight with each other or not. Sometimes the boys will fight more.
Oke, jadi untuk betinanya langsung dipisahkan Om dari umur 2 bulan dan anakannya tetap tinggal di kandang tersebut selama 2 minggu. Setelah itu nanti Kathy akan memisahkan jantan atau betina.
Berarti langsung saja ya Bu ya, langsung dipisah. Begini kan Bu, ini pengalaman saya sendiri Bu ya, ketika anak dipisah dari induk tiba-tiba kemudian tanpa istilahnya pakai jeda waktu ya Bu untuk kembalikan lagi indukannya untuk adaptasi gitu Bu. Kebanyakan anak kan mengalami stres Bu, ada juga yang telinganya turun, ada yang mencret dan macam-macam lah Bu. Kalau di kandang saya ini pengalaman saya, itu paling banyak adalah telinganya turun karena faktor stres tadi Bu. Apakah itu yang maksud saya? Apakah indukan langsung dipisah langsung atau masih dibalikan lagi kemudian dipisahkan lagi gitu Bu? Atau bagaimana Bu?
Enggak, Kathy tadi bilangnya dia langsung pisahkan induknya.
Oh, langsung ya Bu ya?
Iya.
Iya, makasih.
Sama-sama Om. Om Purwo, ada yang mau ditanyakan?
Aku baru aja gabung Bu, belum nyimak. Belum nyimak.
Oh ya udah, kalau gitu aku mute ya. Oke, is there any more question? Oke, Om Hasbi, ada yang mau ditanya Om?
Ari, just to address that, why the sorting, I do everything I can to keep them from getting stressed. As I drag them over to the beach, but normally, I know, but normally when they're in the barn, I take the mom away so they're used to having each other. And then if I sort them again, it's the bucks and the does so that they're used to being together. I try very hard not to put them under any undue stress.
Oke, jadi Om Jeffrey ada tambahannya dari Kathy tadi. Untuk dipisahkan memang langsung dipisah, tapi diusahakan, sangat-sangat diusahakan supaya tidak stres anakan tersebut, baik anakan atau indukannya. Jadi siapa tadi Om Hasbi ya yang mau nanya ya, terus menghilang. Oke Om Hasbi silahkan.
Iya Bu, saya Hasbi dari Jogja. Mau nanya Bu, tadi yang diambil pas dipisah tadi itu anakannya atau indukannya yang diambil dari kandang tadi?
Indukannya yang diambil, anakannya tetap tinggal di dalam kandang sebelumnya.
Oh, berarti oke. Sama lagi, teori simple untuk menemukan puzzle tadi, cara mudahnya menjodohkan jantan dan betina itu yang bagaimana biar anakannya keluar yang kita inginkan gitu.
Okay, that's a question about the puzzle, the breeding puzzle. Is there a simple theories or simple ways how to mate between the buck and the does so he can get the litter that he wants?
You raise Rex for 35 years.
Oke, jawabannya adalah piara dulu Rexnya selama 35 tahun.
No, just think about why you're doing it. When I get the dough out, what do I want her baby? What do I want better about her babies? So do I want them deeper? Do I want them the fur better? Do I want them bigger? Do I need them smaller? So I think about those things all the time.
Oke, jadi ketika kita mau breeding, kita tentukan dulu apa yang kita mau dari anakan betina tersebut. Mau lebih besar atau lebih bagus secara fur-nya atau hal yang lain yang memang kita mau. Jadi itu dulu yang harus ditentukan.
I'm sorry, there's no magic bullet.
I know, it's hard. Gimana Om Hasbi?
Oke, terima kasih. Jadi intinya dicoba-coba gitu ya.
Ya intinya Om Hasbi harus mau apa dulu yang diperbaiki gitu. Jadi pengen dapat anakan yang seperti apa gitu.
I wish I could wave a magic wand and I could get what I want.
Cathy sendiri bilang kalau bisa dia punya tongkat ajaib. Ada pertanyaan lain kah?
Oke, terima kasih Bu.
Terima kasih sama-sama Om Hasbi. Ada pertanyaan lain? Is there any more questions?
Tanya Bu.
Silakan Om Heru.
Ya, Heru dari Jogja Bu. Mau tanya, untuk proses culingnya sendiri itu katakanlah umur berapa minggu? Mulai dari berapa minggu, terus yang dilihat pertama kali itu apanya Bu?
Okay, this is a question about the culling process. What age that the first time you will short the rabbit, and what part of the rabbit that you see first when you short them?
Okay, when I sort the rabbits, it's the first time is at 10 weeks. And I do just what we did today with those rabbits. I look at the rabbits. If I really hate them, they're gone. If I think, okay, and they can sit in cages and grow for another month, then I do that. Then when they've been in the growing cages for a month, I get them out and I do the same thing again. Do I like you? Do I not like you? Sometimes they're even in the show cages. I got one out the other day and I got a doe I had kept and I got her out and I went, I don't like you. Bye.
Okay. Jadi untuk yang pertama kali usia 10 minggu, setelah itu kalau yang dia tidak suka di usia 10 minggu akan disingkirkan, dan yang kedua itu umur 1 bulan. Jadi seperti tadi waktu kayak kita awal melihat kelinci yang 4 ekor itu, yang dilihat duluan adalah di body type sama di fur-nya.
When you're just starting, when you're just starting, give yourself time to understand what you're looking at. So you'll have to let them grow a little bit. Even if you introduce a new animal, a new doe or a new buck. When I have a new buck that I used, and I don't know how his babies will be. So they're in the barn just growing while I watch them. Because I don't know, he's not of my breeding, and I just want to watch and see. They'll grow differently.
Okay.
So it takes patience.
Okay. Jadi intinya adalah kudu sabar. Jadi kalau untuk mereka yang baru pelihara, mungkin bisa agak sedikit lama kelincinya dibiarkan di kandang baru dipilah ya, atau dipilih. Terus kalaupun memasukkan kelinci baru, misalnya jantan atau betina baru, ditunggu dulu anakannya itu sesuai nggak sama yang kita mau. Jadi utamanya sebenarnya kalau nggak sabar, utamanya adalah bersabar dan menentukan tujuan kita mau kelinci yang seperti apa. Begitu Pak Heru?
When I get a new animal, especially if I get a buck, it's really, you get excited and you want to breed him to everything. Don't do that. I get a buck and I bred him to 2 does, 2 different lines till I understood what was going on before I would breed him to anything else.
Oke, jadi kadang kita terlalu excited ya kalau kita dapat jantan baru, terus semuanya mau betina yang ada di kandang itu mau dikawinkan semua dengan jantan itu, tapi itu tidak disarankan oleh Cathy. Jadi Cathy menyarankan untuk dicoba dulu untuk mengawinkan jantan tersebut dengan 2 betina dari line yang berbeda, kemudian diperhatikan anakannya seperti apa, seperti itu. Jadi jangan tiba-tiba kita punya jantan baru, ada betina dulu, semua betina akan kita kawinkan dengan jantan itu. Biasanya itu terjadi sama orang-orang tadi.
Oh ya. Oke, satu lagi Bu.
And sometimes you'll get a litter and I won't like them at all. And so then I know that doe has to get bred to a different buck. It just didn't work. So sometimes I try different breedings.
Oke. Jadi tapi kadang terjadi juga kalau kita ada satu anakan dan kita lihat anakan dari betina itu kita nggak suka, bisa dicoba dikawinkan dengan jantan yang lain karena kemungkinan besar akan menghasilkan anakan yang tipenya berbeda. Seperti itu Om Heru.
Oh iya. Satu lagi Bu, bertanya Bu.
Silakan Om.
Untuk warna kastor itu jodohnya dengan warna apa ya Bu? Apa selalu dengan kastor atau apa ya? Karena sulit ya warna kastor itu.
Okay, that's a question about a color breeding. Is what is the best color to bred with castor?
Black, probably the best. Black. I know people say breed red so you can make the rufusing more red, but I have yet to see a red Rex that's that good. I think you're breeding for color 5 points on the ring, and you're giving up way too much on the fur. Usually red Rex aren't that great. So I would go black or otter.
Oh, jadi sarannya kalau nggak ke black atau black otter. Yeah, I think if you bred them with the red color, I think it's gonna wider the red part of the ring. So
right, and usually red Rex are too soft, the fur.
In texture. Oke. Oke, jadi ada pertanyaan lain kah Om Heru atau itu cukup menjawab?
Sudah cukup Bu, terima kasih. Nanti lagi mungkin kalau ada.
Oke, terima kasih Om Heru. Ada yang mau bertanya lain kah? Ada pertanyaan lain?
Ari, one more thing is, if I breed a doe to a buck and I love the litter, I'm so excited with the litter, I will never breed her to another buck. I will always breed her to that buck. I don't care if I bought a new exciting buck. She's always going to get bred to that buck. Why would I waste a chance, that opportunity? I know that works.
Oke. Jadi kalau untuk betina yang menghasilkan anakan bagus dari satu jantan tertentu, maka Cathy tidak akan mengawinkannya dengan jantan yang lain karena dia bilang untuk apa mengubah sesuatu yang sudah kita bisa dapatkan bagus. Walaupun Cathy misalnya beli jantan yang lebih bagus dari itu, tapi dia sudah yakin bahwa pasangan tersebut akan menghasilkan anakan yang bagus. Oke, if there are any question? Ada pertanyaan lain kah?
Mau tanya lagi Bu Ari?
Silakan Om Eko.
Ya, ini mau tanya untuk di tempatnya Bu Cathy sana, untuk mengawinkan kelinci Rex itu jantan dan betina itu yang paling ideal pertama kali kawin itu idealnya usia berapa?
Okay, what is the ideal age for the first time mating for the doe and the buck?
For my rabbits, I always give them to be a year old. Once in a while, I'll break that rule depending on the shows, but I want to be able to show them. So I need them to go for a year or more, and then they get bred because I'm busy showing them.
Both buck and does?
COVID, because I had some that I bred 10 months, 11, but that's not my norm.
Oke. Jadi normalnya Casey mengawinkannya di umur 12 bulan ke atas karena sebelumnya Casey pengen dikonteskan dulu kelinci-kelincinya. Tapi karena COVID ini dia mengawinkan di usia 10 sampai 11 bulan yang sebenarnya itu bukan kebiasaannya Casey. So it's a both Joe and Bucks for the over 12 months for the first time.
No, the boys can get bred earlier. they're usually willing. So the boys, I'll start breeding them 8 months.
Okay.
7 months.
Jadi untuk jantannya bisa dikawinkan lebih dulu sekitar 7-8 bulan. Begitu Om Eko.
Yeah, if it's a buck I'm really wanting to show and I breed him, I'm very careful. I will hold on to the doe so she can't pull hair and can't, go after him. So I'm careful about it if it's a buck that I'm showing.
Oke, jadi untuk jantan yang dipakai Cathy untuk show, kalaupun dikawinkan, dia akan berhati-hati supaya betinanya tidak mencabut bulunya yang jantan. Ada lagi kah pertanyaan?
Bu, saya Bu, Jeffrey Bu.
Silakan Om Jeffrey.
Bu, saya mau tanya Bu, ini pengalaman di kandang saya Bu ya. Saya nggak suka anakan di atas 6 ekor gitu Bu, karena kondisinya selalu anakan banyak itu kondisinya selalu kurang bagus gitu Bu. Nah, yang mau saya tanyakan, idealnya berapa jumlah liter di kandangnya Mom Cathy sendiri untuk satu indukan itu dari mulai lahir itu?
Okay. Cathy, the question is the ideal number of the litter at your barn, because in his experience, then if he has more than 6 babies on the box, the quality is not so good.
I would agree 100%. I like litters of 6. So that's another reason I breed several does together so that I have room to foster babies around. Because I agree, 6 is the optimum number.
Oke. Jadi 6 itu sudah maksimal Om, karena kalau lebih dari itu biasanya memang kurang bagus kata Cathy. Mana
begini Bu, saya sendiri kan Bu, kalau semuanya anakannya itu mamanya lahirnya itu di atas 6 atau di atas 5 gitu Bu. Saya ketika kelinci itu baru lahir langsung saya seleksi ketika baru lahir Bu. Yang mana saya seleksi mulai dari markingnya atau tulangnya. Apakah di kandang sana kalau semuanya anaknya lebih dari 6, apa yang kira-kira dilakukan Mom Cathy sendiri Bu?
So Cathy, if you have more than 6 litters, what will you do?
So if this baby had been in, this mama milks heavy. So I know that because she's had babies before. If this had been in a normal litter, I would have gotten rid of it right away.
Okay. Jadi kalau jadi yang indukannya kelinci yang ada sekarang itu memang dia nyusuinnya cukup kenceng ya, jadi makanya dia tetap dipertahankan. Jadi tapi kalau misalnya indukannya yang dipakai itu nyusunya biasa-biasa aja, makanya yang tadi kelinci yang kayak tadi, markingnya kayak tadi itu udah hilang dari kotak itu Om Jeffrey.
Oh, berarti sama Bu. Makasih Bu.
Sama-sama Om Jeffrey. So is there more questions? Silakan Om Andre Wijaya.
Menanya Bu Ari.
Silakan.
Kan Cathy kan ada kandang show. Ibaratnya kandang show-nya 20 kandang.
Iya.
Kemudian waktu Miss Cathy-nya sortir anakan yang baru, yang cocok untuk show kan akan dipindahkan ke kandang show yang nah kalau kandang show-nya yang di tengah itu penuh dan yang dipilih ini lebih dianggap paling bagus dari di antara show yang ada, yang kelinci di kandang show itu dikemanai?
Oh, okay, Cathy, there's a question about your show cages. So, if you have another show rabbits, I mean like the new show qualities rabbits, so what will you do with the previous show rabbits if you don't have enough cages for that?
I always have a demand for people buying rabbits. So I can hardly keep up. So that's not an issue for me. But if I do that, then I will if I really have to. At the beginning of COVID, I had a barn full. So I shipped the rabbits, even though they were show quality rabbits, they were the least show quality rabbits, and they went with Randy to the zoo.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh. Jadi,
what else was I going to do? I was like, oh my gosh, because just too, there was,
yeah.
So I probably about 15 of them with Randy.
Oh God. Jadi Om Andre Wijaya, kalau sebelum COVID biasanya banyak yang mau kelincinya Cathy, jadi selalu terjual dan itu nggak masalah. Tapi selama COVID, karena penjualan juga menurun kan, karena show-nya juga turun, nggak ada show. Jadi biasanya yang paling tidak masuk dalam kategori show, walaupun itu show quality, tapi yang paling tidak masuk lah, menurut pandangan Cathy itu akan dijadikan makanan hewan di kebun binatang, Om. Begitu, Om Andre.
Usually that's not an issue. You all want rabbits, or I just had a text this morning from someone in the US, and she wants me to bring rabbits to her when I go to Rex Nationals. So usually there's enough turnover in the barn that it's not an issue, or I get old rabbits that aren't producing as well as I want to anymore. But I'm careful, I don't overbreed. I mean, I have empty cages in the barn now, so there's room.
Jadi untuk sekarang kalau bisa jangan overbreed, Om Andre, dengan kondisi sekarang.
Oke, thank you.
Iya.
Thank you.
Sebentar, aku mute dulu di sini. Kalau ada pertanyaan.
Sometimes in the past, one time, well, Haley was going to do my granddaughter was going to do mini satins, and I had to make room for her rabbits. So I went through the barn and I said, okay, I'll get rid of all the blue Rex. And I went through the barn and I said, and I was hard-hearted, and I said, all the blue Rex are going, except for that one. And then that one won Rex Nationals that year, the blue. So sometimes you just have to be hard-hearted. It's hard. I think I lost your sound, Ari.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Jadi memang kita benar-benar harus menentukan mana yang mau kita pilih atau enggak. Jadi hard calling ya. Untuk Om Alex Wijaya ada pertanyaan kah?
Ya, halo Ibu.
Ya, silakan Om, suaranya agak kecil ya Om.
Oh iya, agak kecil ya Bu ya. Halo?
Oke, sudah oke.
Ini Ibu mau tanya aja, kalau dalam Rex kan furnya kan yang harus dipertahankan juga Ibu ya, selain dari body. Nah mau tanya aja Bu, misalkan selain dari genetik ini ya Bu ya, misalkan nih kan biasa Rex itu kalau apalagi di Indonesia kan suhunya agak panas juga. Dan biasa bulunya kan dari tadinya kita dapat nih yang Rex bulunya, kerapatan bulunya itu bagus, tiba-tiba dia kayak jadi ya nggak terlalu rapat gitu Ibu. Kira-kira ada nggak tipsnya gitu Ibu dari Mom Cathy mungkin gimana cara untuk perawatan lah Bu, treatment atau ada mungkin makanan tertentu Ibu untuk mempertahankan gitu bulu Rex gitu Ibu.
Okay, that's a question.
Supaya kerapatannya bagus gitu Ibu.
Okay, it's a question about the density of the rabbits. Yeah, Om, sama-sama. So when they bought the rabbits imported from the US, maybe they got a good density of the fur, good quality of the fur. But when they already live here, kept them for about month 2 or 3, they will change about the density of the fur. Is there any tips for the maintenance of the density of the fur for the environment in Indonesia?
I think you all are just going to fight your environment. I really do. It's going to be what it is. It's you have such a hot temperature all the time. Right now, what's our temperature right now here, John? Right now we're cold.
Mm-hmm.
It's 50 degrees Fahrenheit here right now.
50? 50?
50.
Okay.
And that's close to the ocean. So that's where it stays constant. When our house this week, it got down to 40. So much cooler than you all have.
Oke, jadi tetap untuk suhu tetap harus diperhatikan Om Alex Winata. Untuk kondisinya di Cathy sekarang, walaupun dia di tepi pantai, suhunya di sekitar 50 derajat Fahrenheit. Jadi memang agak dingin. Kalau bisa sih memang untuk kelinci Rex, suhunya agak dingin. Sedangkan di kandangnya Cathy sendiri sekitar 40 derajat Fahrenheit. Ya Om Iqbal, adakah komentar? Tadi Om Iqbal buka itu deh. Atau ada pertanyaan lain? Dari Om Anak, Om Ilham, atau Om Jeffrey, banyak banget yang buka. Siapa dulu?
Ibu.
Siapa dulu nih?
Nah, mau tanya aja. Ibu, jadi kayak makanan gitu Ibu, tertentu gitu nggak ada gitu ya Ibu? Misalkan, jadi saya lebih berperan besar suhu ya Ibu ya?
Okay. So is there an, oh sorry, there's a thunder here. So, do you have any suggestion on feeding or supplement for that, or it only depends on the weather or the temperature?
A lot of it depends on weather. I feed 16%, and I don't go hotter. I know some people think that, but I think that if you go hotter, I've tried, but I think that causes them to shed all the time. So 16% seems to be optimum for the Rex. When I'm holding I'll let you explain that and then I'll go to the next part.
Oke, jadi untuk pakannya pelletnya Cathy pakai 16% protein dan tidak lebih dari itu. Kalau lebih dari itu biasanya kelincinya molting terus-menerus dan tidak berhenti.
When I'm holding a rabbit for say she's finished and convention is in 2 weeks. And I want the rabbit to be ready, still hold her coat for convention, I will actually cut the percentage more. I give them red wheat, different things so that they don't have as much percentage of their never go up. You can go down.
Oke. Untuk kelinci yang kondisinya udah bagus, untuk prima atau misalnya untuk dipertahankan kondisi furnya untuk show atau convention, biasanya Cathy malah justru menurunkan persentase dari pelletnya, dari pakannya. Jadi bisa dikasih high lebih banyak ataupun dia bilang tadi red wheat, gandum merah itu bisa ditambahkan lebih banyak karena tujuannya adalah untuk menurunkan persentase protein.
Oh iya.
And that
berarti kayak dari porsi pelletnya ya.
That's good for Rex.
Oke. Jadi seperti itu Om. Masih ada pertanyaan kah Om Alex?
Ya udah Ibu, makasih banyak Ibu.
Oh, sama-sama Om Alex. Oke, tadi siapa yang mau bertanya? Om Aan atau siapa tadi?
Ya Bu.
Saya, oh ya Om Tony silahkan.
Ya gini Bu, tadi kan ada keterangan ya Bu ya, untuk pemberian pakan di kandangnya di Cathy tadi kan sehari 1 kali ya Bu ya. Untuk induk dikasih pakan setiap pagi, terus untuk yang anakan dikasih makan tiap malam 1 hari 1 kali. Pertanyaan saya gini Bu, untuk pemberian porsi makan takarannya di kandangnya Cathy itu sekali kasih makan berapa gram Bu?
Oke, itu aja.
Ya, sementara itu aja dulu.
Okay, but it's about the feeding management. How much feed do you give for the rabbit, for each rabbit a day?
I have done Rex for so long that my rabbits are free fed. I don't fill it up, but I know about half a feeder is what they're gonna eat. There's still some left in the feeder, but I don't measure. I just know that the rabbits, that's about how much my rabbits take. I can see if they're getting too thin or, you know, if they, I mean, I handle them all the time. So I can tell if they need more food, or I really don't cut. I really just free feed the rabbit.
So it depends on the condition of the rabbits and also how much feed that they can finish in one portion, something like that.
Eating, yes. When my rabbits are full, they stop.
Okay.
They don't overeat, so I don't have a problem with it. And
Okay.
maybe it's just years of selection, I don't know, but I don't have them get too fat or anything.
Okay, and how about the mother and the babies? Do you give it like free flow?
I give them feed. I give them feed, and then we give them, I won't give them a full feeder in the morning, but I'll top it off and let them have that. They're usually empty by the time I feed again in the evening.
Okay.
But I don't fill it all the way up in the morning. They get a full feeder at night, and they get maybe a third of a feeder in the day, but they have a big feeder. So,
Jadi, ya. Jadi untuk pemberiannya Om Tony itu untuk di kandang Cathy dia tidak ada takaran pasti berdasarkan banyaknya pelet yang dimakan oleh kelinci itu dalam satu kali pemberian. Jadi kalau setiap habis makan nggak sisa banyak gitu, seperti itu diusahakan. Kalau untuk indukan sama anakan di pagi hari dikasihnya mungkin sepertiga dari biasanya, kan pemberiannya 2 kali, pagi dan malam. Nah malamnya itu yang full gitu. Jadi kalau paginya dia sepertiga, tapi biasanya waktu malam Cathy ngasih lagi itu udah kosong biasanya di tempat pakannya. Jadi tidak ada gramnya berapa gram. Dilihat saja kondisi kelincinya. Kalau terlalu kurus mungkin akan diberi lebih banyak. Kalau terlalu gemuk mungkin akan dikurangi seperti itu.
Different for different rabbits. Like when Haley had the mini satins, we had to measure it. They were pigs. They would just keep eating. Like Roger Hassingflute said, they'd eat cardboard. They just
really
eat everything.
With the mini satin?
The mini satins will eat everything and go overweight. But the Rex, I just, after this many years, mine, I just go through the barn and feed them.
Okay. Jadi kalau untuk kelinci jenis Rex, untuk Cathy dia tidak ada batasan berapa gramnya. Tapi untuk mini satin dia mencontohkan kelincinya, cucunya, dan ada satu breeder yang lain. Kalau mini satin itu akan memakan apa saja, makanya perlu ditakar. Karena kalau mini satin makannya terlalu banyak, dia akan overweight. Seperti itu, Om Tony.
Ya.
Ada lagi?
Ada Bu, satu lagi Bu.
Silakan.
Untuk suhu di sana sama di Indonesia kan beda Bu ya. Kalau boleh tahu, untuk temperatur suhu per musimnya itu berapa Bu di sana?
Tadi sudah disebut.
Musim berapa?
Okay, Cathy, the question is your regular temperature for the whole years.
We have big fluctuations. So last week it was 40 degrees Fahrenheit. It can get down to 30 degrees Fahrenheit in the winter, but it can go up to 105 degrees in the summer.
Okay.
105 degrees Fahrenheit. So we have big temperature changes. In this winter, I don't do anything. The barn just is what it is. There's ventilation, but nothing else. In the summer, we do what we call swamp cooling. It's a water-cooled system, because 105 is too hot.
Okay. Yep.
In the winter, I do nothing. It's just cold.
Jadi di sana perbedaan suhunya per tahunnya bisa berbeda Om antara musim panas dan musim dingin. Jadi suhu di musim dingin bisa sampai 30 derajat Fahrenheit, terus 40 derajat Fahrenheit. Kalau musim panas bisa mencapai 105 Fahrenheit. Jadi kalau udah musim panas biasanya swamp cooler atau air coolernya dinyalakan supaya untuk mendinginkan ruangan. Gitu Om Tony.
Untuk berapa derajat Bu?
Ntar di googling aja ya, 40, 30 derajat Fahrenheit, 40, 105, ntar di googling, ntar aku WA aja.
Susie has a question too. I can see her raising her hand.
Mbak Susi mau ada yang ditanya lagi nggak?
Udah, makasih Bu.
Apa gimana Om Tony? Oke.
Udah.
Oh sudah, oke. Terima kasih Om Tony.
Sama-sama Bu.
Masih ada yang mau nanya kah?
Saya Bu.
Oh ya, ya sebentar ya Mbak Susi ya. Iya Bapak Ahmad Malik, silakan. Halo, tadi siapa yang mau bertanya?
Saya Bu Jeffrey Bu.
Oh Jeffrey, oke silakan Om Jeffrey.
Ibu pilihan pejantan yang baik maksudnya di kandang itu kan kayak saya itu nggak banyak ya Bu untuk yang ya seperti puzzle tadi ya Bu ya, kita menemukan pasangan yang cocok itu kan nggak banyak. Nah yang mau saya tanyakan adakah tip dan trik untuk menjaga apa namanya vitalitas pejantan Bu? Kadang-kali bermasalahnya di situ Bu kalau di kandang saya Bu. Apakah ada tip dan trik dari Mom Cathy untuk supaya pejantan ini tetap subur gitu Bu?
Tetap subur. Okay, it's a question about the bugs because he doesn't have a lot of bugs in his barn, so he wants any tips from you how to keep the bug in good condition, so he can breed a lot, something like that.
You'd have to make the translation, the temperature again. If it goes over 90 degrees Fahrenheit, the bucks can go sterile for 90 days.
Okay.
So that's important that the bucks stay as cool enough, not over 90 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. Jadi kalau bisa Om tidak lebih dari 90 derajat Fahrenheit. Kalau lebih dari itu biasanya jantannya akan steril selama 90 hari.
It will come back, but it takes a while. The younger the buck, the quicker it will. The older the bucks, it takes longer.
Oke, itunya fertilitasnya akan kembali, tapi butuh waktu gitu Om Jeffrey. Ternyata double zoom bingung juga ya. Ada pertanyaan lagi nggak Om Jeffrey?
Ya Bu, memang sesuai dengan apa yang kalau saya sering sebut temporary steril itu Bu, karena suhu panas di pejantan di kandang saya berarti benar sama terjadinya gitu. Ya, makasih.
Oke, sama-sama Om Jeffrey. Ada pertanyaan lagi Bu Susi tadi? Bu Susi tadi udah resen dari tadi. Oleh silakan Bu Susi. Dibuka dulu itunya, nggak kelihatan, nggak kedengeran suaranya.
Sudah Bu Ari.
Silahkan.
Halo.
Iya, silahkan.
Pretty in the under neck.
Oh, the
Like this.
dewlap?
Yes, normal or not?
Okay, nope. Some breeds are not allowed to have them and some have them. It's just a characteristic of the breed. It used to be that it was thought that the mamas drew off of that to feed the babies, so that some of storing up fat in order to have enough to feed the babies, but that can't be true because you have some of the other breeds that don't have a dewlap still do fine with the babies. They don't have as many in a litter. So it might be somewhat true that they draw off of that dewlap resources to feed the babies, extra fat.
Jadi itu
because it's fat.
Iya, terlalu gemuk gitu, Mbak.
Oh. Okay.
It's acceptable in the breed.
Kalau di Rex itu oke. Cuman beberapa jenis aja yang nggak boleh, tapi kalau di Rex masih oke itu, Mbak Susi.
Oh, it is Rex.
Iya.
Rex or not?
It looks like a not recognized color.
Yeah, she just asked about the breed. Is it a Rex or not? Something like that.
Well, I can't see the fur this close.
Jadi bulunya nggak bisa terlalu dilihat, Mbak Susi.
Oh.
Soalnya lewat video kan agak susah gitu kan.
Let Ari look at it later.
Yeah, maybe when I met her, I will tell her what the breed is.
Okay.
Terima kasih Mbak Susi. Oke, Om Aan, ada pertanyaan kah?
Hi, madam. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
I just heard that you mentioned that you culling the rabbit is the blue color. Why is that? Is that
I
something?
wasn't culling them because they were blue. I was trying to make room in the barn for my granddaughter because she was doing mini satins, and so she wanted some of the cages. So I said, okay, and I didn't cull them, I sold them. So
okay.
I love blue because that was the color I had first. So I have a soft spot for blue. But I sold all the blues in the barn except for one doe. And I liked her so much, I said, I'm selling everything but not this rabbit. And then that won Rex Nationals that year.
Okay, so there is...
So I kept the right rabbit.
So there is no problem with the...
Now there's blues starting to pop up in the barn again.
So there is no problem with Fort Orden City about the blue color, right?
No, there's
okay.
not. I won Rex Nationals with the blue. You can do it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Blue is a soft. I have a soft spot.
Anyway, the blue is compatible with black or other colors. What do you think? Or blue with blue, with solid.
Your blues to your blacks.
The blacks, okay.
Don't keep, if you breed blue to blue, it's going to get too soft.
Okay.
So go blue to black, back, around and around.
Though the black, they don't have any blue gene. That's still okay, right?
No, you might see a little bit of a black guard hair in the blues. That's okay. The judges will just really like the color because they'll think it's a really dark blue.
Okay.
But they won't have blue or black spots or anything like that. It's better for the toenails too.
All right. So it'll be dark, right?
Yeah, you'll have good dark toenails.
Okay, right. Okay, thank you, Cathy.
You're welcome.
Terima kasih Om Aan. Ada pertanyaan lain kah? Mungkin kita sampai jam 12 aja ya. Kita ada 7 menit lagi. I think we have like 7 minutes because it's almost like 12 o'clock here and 10 at your place. Is it okay for another 7 minutes? Oke, silahkan Om Iqbal. Kayaknya buka mic mulu tapi nggak ngomong di Om Iqbal dah.
Kedengeran nggak, Bu?
Kedengeran, siapakah ini?
Saya tulis di chat, Bu.
Om Iqbal.
Iqbal, Bu.
Iya, gimana Om? Gimana Om? Silahkan.
Bu, banyak pertanyaan di chat, Bu.
Oh, ya. Agak buka chat aku, bentar.
Banyak pertanyaan di chat, Bu.
Sebentar, saya buka dulu. Susah nih nge-host sendiri, bingung. Okay, Cathy is from Iqbal Haras. Thank you for your detailed and complete explanation. I'm sorry, I have to go with the sign out.
Anytime. I'm glad to talk rabbits. Glad to talk Rex.
So he asks a question. Do you have experience? How do you overcome with the empty shoulder? Can we still grow them to have better or full shoulder?
That's what I just think. I'm seeing Iqbal's right that, and they're usually when you see it bad in the beginning, it's going to stay bad. This baby I showed you, let me see if I can find her again.
The one with the long shoulder?
Longer shoulder, yeah. There she is. Okay. So when I see this baby, I can see that dip right there. But I see good width here. But I don't like what I see here, and my gut feeling, my tummy feeling is it's not going to get better.
Okay.
Usually at this age, you should start seeing what you want in a rabbit.
Okay. Jadi untuk tetap Om Iqbal untuk empty shoulder tetap dari awal tetap dilihat, kalau memang tidak bisa menolong lagi nggak dipakai. Do we need special feed or supplement to fill the shoulder, or because he has an experience with 2 juniors, only one dog get better shoulders in the next 3 months, so the other 3 juniors are not.
Yep.
Okay.
Sometimes you just keep your fingers crossed and hope it gets better, but A lot of times it doesn't.
Jadi yang seperti itu memang nggak dipakai Om Iqbal. Aduh, aku kok nggak bisa naik ke chatnya ya. Okay, there's so it's a question about how many breathing dose do you have and how many heart block do you have?
Oh gosh, right now I have to count in my head. 1, 2, 3, 5. Right now, I must have 15 or 16 brood does.
Mm-hmm.
And that fluctuates, but I would say around that. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bucks.
Jadi betinanya ada 15 dan jantannya ada 7.
That's a lot of bucks.
Yeah, I know, that's a lot of bucks.
Yeah.
So that's a question from the chat. Ada pertanyaan lain kah? Kita sudah mau selesai dalam 4 menit lagi.
Yeah, it's more bucks than you need, but I have 2 bucks that are old in there and they've been around and they've made good babies, so they get to stay for a while.
Okay. Jadi Cathy ada beberapa bucks yang udah tua tapi anakannya bagus, jadi tetap dipelihara sama Cathy. Okay, is there any question? Kalau sudah tidak ada pertanyaan, kita akan tutup sesi hari ini.
One more thing.
Okay, silakan Om Aan.
The oldest rabbit that's still produced in your barn, how many years?
Right now, my oldest rabbit in the barn is West. It's a buck. And he's 7. And I'm still getting babies out of him. The babies you see today that I showed you, those are his babies.
7 years?
7.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I know.
That's amazing.
I bred him the other day and I thought I killed him. I think at least he died happy.
Oh, wow.
He got up after a while.
Wow. Well, you're still alone. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you.
I had 1 buck in my barn. He's probably my record. He was 9.
Okay,
but most of them don't do that.
Right. Thank you.
Terima kasih Om Aan. Okay, I think it's 12 already. So thank you. Sesi ini untuk hari ini ditutup dulu ya. Untuk mungkin lain kali lagi kita akan adakan seminar sama Cathy. Okay, Cathy, I think it's enough for today.
Okay.
Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate everything that you shared today. It's very wonderful, and I think I learned a lot from you this today, because it's evening and it's like noon here, so I cannot say like this noon or this evening.
I tell them I learn a lot from them. It makes me think about what do I do.
Cathy juga mengucapkan terima kasih untuk kalian semua karena itu membuat Cathy berpikir apa yang dia lakukan. Terima kasih banyak untuk semua yang hadir untuk hari ini. Terima kasih banyak atas pertanyaannya dan feedbacknya dari teman-teman semua. Thank you very much, Cathy. Have a pleasant night